Hi, wherever you are and however you may be listening. Welcome. We're live on My name is Hassan Riggs, and I'm the founder CEO at Smart Alto. We're live from Washington, D.C. How are you? We got a great show today. How you doing? It's good. I'm excited to be here with you. My name is Hassan Riggs, founder CEO at Alto. Hey, Alex, what's going on, baby? How you doing? Good to see you. Um, so we got a great show for you today. Heading into the holiday season. Thanksgiving is coming up for my friends who are watching in America. For everyone else, obviously, this is Thanksgiving is coming up, going into the holiday season. I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who's been supporting the growth. We've been growing really fast. I started this group back in May with like zero people. And actually, if you go back and take a look at my profile, I was not even really active on Facebook at all. And from May until now, we've grown to over 3,000 people in this Facebook group. So I want to thank you so much for sharing um, the group with other people, and I want to thank everyone who's who's coming, consuming, and also contributing. Because oftentimes you have a lot of folks who they come and consume, but they don't contribute to the health of the group. They don't contribute to the health. They're not actively involved, whether it's their neighborhood, whether it's their church, whether it's their school, whether it's their PTA meetings. They just go and they consume, but they don't actually contribute. So I want to thank everyone who comes, consumes, and contributes to the health of the group because it just makes everyone's life better. I appreciate that. And hopefully, you've been getting a lot of value out of the group because that's a really important thing for me. My job, the way I see my job here, is to have this like a WWN, a What's Working Now community so we can share the best, not like tips, tricks, and strategies, but quite literally the best what's working now things you can do to help you grow your business. And so, again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Hassan Riggs. I'm the founder and CEO at Smart Alto. I'm also a Forbes contributor where I write about real estate marketing, real estate technology trends, how to set appointments through text message. I've spoken at Inman, I've spoken at NAR, and I say all those things not to impress you, but just to impress upon you that you're in good hands. Right. So if you're seeing this for the first time, you're in really good hands. And we got a great show for you today, a little kind of tidbit of information. My wife, her name is Ashley. She works for the FBI. And so if you got something, you got to want to take a shot at me, I'll tell her and she'll be sure to follow up with you offline because my wife is a boss. Just want to kind of throw that out there. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. Today we're going to talk about some simple formulas for real estate success. And so over the course of over the course of my life, I've kind of broken down some simple things that I've done to help grow my business forward. Some of the things that I've seen some of the top agents, team leads, brokers do to grow their business forward, not just, selling 5, 6 homes or 10, 20 homes or 30, 40 homes, but quite literally individual agents who are selling 40, 50, 60 homes a year, teams who are selling hundreds of homes, brokers who are selling thousands of homes per year. I'm going to share some of those strategies, some of those building blocks, some of those guiding principles with you today so that you can go back and implement them in your business going into 2020. But also, I use these same things in my business to quite literally double our business this year. And so the more you understand some of the things that we're talking about today, the better off you'll be, not only now, but also in the future. So, hey, if you're watching this video, make sure that you hit that button, that little link over the top that says Ecamm Live. That way, when you comment, I can actually see who you are because I can't always see who you are if you don't comment there. Um, let's go ahead and dive in. Let me just grab some water really quickly. Mm. Let me also share a little bit about how this is going to kind of start, how it's going to kick off. So we're going to, I'm going to briefly and really quickly share a couple of tidbits. We're going to talk about some like three big ideas that I really want you to learn and walk away from this conversation with that we're going to have today. Then I'm going to go through some of the formulas. some of the strategies, some of the principles that I've learned, some of the things that's going to help you grow your business not only now but also moving into 2020 and beyond. And then we're going to have like a short Q&A. But throughout this conversation, you can feel free to ask me questions if you need to, because I am doing this through Ecamm Live. One of the reasons I'm doing it through Ecamm is so that I can see the comments of what people say. I see Stuart said something to me. I see my buddy Alex is here. I'm sure Alina is out there. And so as we continue to kind of to have this conversation, you can ask me questions about some of these things, and I'll be kind of paying attention to go through. All right. Let me share my screen really quickly. All right, great. Simple formulas for real estate success. Again, my name is Hassan Riggs, and I am the founder CEO at Smart Out. Um, I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, but I've lived in Mobile, Alabama, Miami, Florida, Sacramento, California, San Francisco, California, Princeton, New Jersey, New York, quite literally lived in Manhattan. Now I'm in Washington, D.C. about 6 months of the year, and I'm in Birmingham, Alabama about 4 months of the year because that's where our headquarters are. So I'm the founder, CEO at Smart Alto. That's where our headquarters are. And so one of my favorite quotes, I said, hey, listen, I share this with folks I talk to all the time. If you're still doing business today, you did the same way you did a few years ago. I got two words for you: Radio Shack. The world is changing, the world is continuing to change, it's continuing to evolve, and the best people who do life the right way, not just business, but the folks who do life the right way, are the folks who they adjust, they move, they adapt, they evolve, they change, they learn, they adjust, they move, they adapt, they change, they learn, they adjust, they move, they tweak, they change, they adjust, they evolve with the times, and they don't just say, well, I'm going to do it this way because that's the way I've always done it. So the people who are still, I'm going to give you a really small example of the people who have not quite literally have not changed the way they're doing business because it was the way they always did it previously. So when you get a new real estate lead who comes in, a new home buyer, they've given you their name, telephone number, and email address. The most inefficient thing you can do is pick up the phone and call that person. That's quite literally the most inefficient thing you can do. Not only because people don't want to talk on the phone. Ask yourself, how many people do you talk to versus those who you text? The world has evolved, and we can have different opinions, but we can't have different facts. The facts are that most people prefer texting over calling and talking on the phone. When's the last time you answered the phone from a person you didn't know and they sold you something? Like back in the 1990s and the 80s and the 70s, maybe that was working, maybe the early 2000s, but that doesn't work anymore. And so the people who are still calling leads, the very first thing that they do, they haven't evolved. I'm not saying that calling leads doesn't work. I'm saying it's inefficient. And I'm saying that you're not going to get nearly as many results calling those leads as you are texting those leads initially, simply because people aren't going to answer the phone. You don't know if you have the right name and telephone number. The person's going to pick up the phone. They're going to say, what are you talking about? I made a mistake. I didn't mean to give you my information. I don't want anyone to call me. I'm at dinner. I'm with my kids. The kids just came home from school. They're going to give you some type of reason. Right? And so your job is to figure out how to use your resources most effectively, and picking up the phone and calling someone when they come through. That's a sign to me that you haven't changed with the times. It's a sign to me that you're still saying, well, let me do this because I read it on a blog or someone told me that it works, or they used to do it like this back in um, 2008 or 2007 or whenever, right? So you haven't changed with the times. But the best people are those who change, they adapt, they evolve, they tweak, they move, they change, adapt, they evolve, they tweak, they move. And so part of what you have to figure out, and one of the things that I'm going to help you do, is understand how the world is changing, and then ultimately make decisions in your business to change and evolve with the times, right? To change and evolve with the times. I'm sure that when you take a look around, you know some people who have not changed and evolved with the times. And those are the people I got two words for: Radio Shack. So today, we're going to talk about the three big ideas on what you can do and what you absolutely must internalize, because I'm going to share some simple formulas on how to grow your real estate business, and quite literally some of the things that I've done to double my business this year. And some of the things that I've done to when I'm talking to the top producing agents, teams of brokers around the country, some of the things that they've done in their business to quite literally just hold it and grow and grow and grow. So, number one, three big ideas and what you must internalize from this presentation. So, we're going to talk for about 15, 20 minutes, not going to take up a whole lot of time because these concepts are relatively simple, but don't water them down, right? Take the shot straight, don't water it down. So, number one, think about these formulas as guiding principles. They're building blocks for success. And only after you understand these building blocks can you gain the wisdom that you need to develop an execution plan. So, you have a lot of people in life and they'll talk about secrets. And I actually do believe there is a such thing as secrets in the world. I believe there are things that some people know that other people don't. I believe that knowledge is power. Is wisdom is applied knowledge. It's knowledge in action. Right? I believe all those things. I also believe that you can't take business and boil it down to formulas. I think business is dynamic, business changes. So I want you to think about these formulas as guiding principles, things that help you understand the fundamental building blocks. Because life and relationships and business and real estate and and everything that's meaningful and valuable to us in life, they have fundamental building blocks that you can kind of piece together. And especially business, when you understand the fundamental building blocks, when you understand what is important, you can then begin putting those building blocks together like Lego, and you can quite literally and figuratively begin building a big business because you understand the key issues. You understand what's important. You understand where to focus your time. You understand the levers that you can pull that's going to get you a result. And so, what I'm going to share with you today are the fundamental building blocks, the guiding principles that you can use to make better informed decisions within your business every single day. That way, you don't have to copy what someone else does. You don't have to copy their ads. You don't have to copy their copywriting. You don't have to copy their templates. You don't have to copy those things because you will know how to use them yourself. Because once you understand the building blocks, you can take it from there. There's nothing wrong with using a template, there's nothing wrong with using proven success strategies. But what is wrong with that, if that's the only thing you can do, is copy other people. That's the problem. And so you need to understand the building blocks in order to kind of make this happen. Number two, number two, your main job as an entrepreneur is to figure out how to properly use your resources, time, money, people, attention. Measure twice, cut once. Your job as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is to understand how to use your resources, time, money, people, attention. It's really hard to understand how to use your resources when you don't understand your numbers. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I'll give myself as an example. I run a team here. You run a team. You're running a company, right? Your job is to say, well, I have this money, I have my time, I have what I can focus on. Where shall I deploy my resources? How can I trim the fat and focus on the things that really matter in my business? And it's hard to understand what really matters in your business when you don't know what's working and what's not working. And it's hard to know what's working and what's not working when you don't understand your numbers, when you don't understand how much it costs you to get a lead, how much it costs you to get a booked appointment, how much it costs you to make a sale. When you don't understand those things, it's really difficult to understand what's working, what's not working, and ultimately how to invest your time, money, resources, people. So what should you, when you wake up every morning, what should you go do? How do you know what's the most effective thing you can do today in order to drive your business forward? That's one of your main jobs as an entrepreneur. When you bring someone onto your team, what are you going to have them do? Because people need a game plan. They don't want to just go figure everything out themselves. Your job is to 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 bring on smart people and give them the general strategy and direction that they need in order to be successful, i.e., how to use your resources. That's one of your main jobs that you have. Number three, success cooked in the oven, not an Instapot. So most people they give up because they don't see results immediately. And they're awful at evaluating what's working and what's not because the things that work often don't have an immediate impact. Compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. We are awful as humans at doing a lot of things. And one of the things we're awful at doing is evaluating risk. In order to be an entrepreneur, like you can't save your way to wealth, right? You can't save your way to wealth. You can save your way to a good retirement. You can save your way to a nice, steady, healthy living, but you can't save your way to wealth. If you want to become wealthy in business and in life, you got to take some risk. If you want some really rich relationships in your life, you got to take some risk. You got to be vulnerable with people. You got to open up a little bit. Similarly, if you want to be wealthy from a financial perspective in business, then you got to take some risk and you have to be consistent. You can't hoard all your money. You can't just save all your money. You got to take some risks. You got to invest in things. And investing in things takes time. And so most people give up too quickly. I believe Albert Einstein, he's attributed to saying this, although there's no actual evidence that he said it. But he said compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Well, what does that mean? It means that people are awful at understanding the impact of what they do today, the impact of what they do today, how that's going to materialize in the future. When you do something today and you do it every single day, if I invest $1 today and $1 tomorrow and $1 for 100 days, at the end of those 100 days, I don't just have $100 because there's compounding interest. With every additional dollar I invest, I begin to get exponential growth. So if I decide to invest $1 today and I do that for 100 days, ultimately I've decided not to invest not only the $100, but also the compounding interest of that. Does that make sense? What, what I do today has an exponential effect and impact in the future. If I invest $1 today, you're thinking, so what? It's only $1. No, I made that decision to invest $1 today and every day, and compounding interest comes into play. And I begin to get this exponential growth. It's the power law. It's the power law said differently. So you have to continue to invest in things. Why am I saying this? Because you need to be consistent. The people who lose are the people who start today and they give up too quickly before they actually get the fruit of their labor. If if you think about a farmer who invests a seed, it will be ridiculous for them to go out tomorrow and look at their farm and say, "What do you mean? I put down the apple seed yesterday. Why don't I have an apple tree?" It sounds ridiculous when I say it like that. But that's oftentimes what people are doing. They're planting a seed and then they're wondering why they don't have an apple tree tomorrow. Because the things that build lasting impact in your business, they take time to cook. They're built in the oven. All right. So here's the formula we're going to go over. Teaching. Teaching equals trust equals speed. Teaching equals trust equals speed. So there's a direct relationship between speed and trust. The more that people trust you, the faster things happen. The more that people trust you, the faster things happen. So my wife, she works for the FBI. Her name is Ashley, and she works in counterterrorism. I want you to think about what it was like going through the airport before 9/11 and after 9/11. Before 9/11, you could go through the airport, go through the security checkpoint with in 40 get to the airport 45 minutes before your flight left. Get through the security checkpoint in 5 6 minutes, and you're gone. You're good. You don't have to worry about anything. You could just breeze through the airport. You could breeze through the airport. You don't have to worry about anything. Why? Because the government trusted you. But after 9/11, what happened? There was a lack of trust. They didn't know whether or not they could trust you. And because they didn't know if they could trust you, they put up these security checkpoints. And these security checkpoints, they had to ultimately take your shoes off, take your jacket off, take your clothes off, take your laptop out of your bag, no more liquids. That's why they came up with the 311. That slows everything down because now I have to verify that what you're telling me is accurate, that you are who you say you are when I take a look at your license. When I take a look at your passport, you are who you say you are. And so now that I don't trust you, things slow down. It slows down a lot. And so, what do the really savvy people do? They buy TSA PreCheck. The ultimate savvy people, they buy Global Entry. When you're purchasing Global Entry or TSA PreCheck and you go down and you have that interview, what you're really buying is trust from the government. You're telling the government you can trust me. You're investing your time and your money to go through an interview so they can ultimately verify you are who you say you are and that you're not a terrorist. And now when I have global entry, I can take my little global entry, my TSA pre-check, and I can breeze through the security checkpoint. I can get through the security checkpoint 5 times faster than you if you don't have global entry. I can get through security checkpoint 20 times faster than you if you don't have TSA PreCheck. And that's because I've told the government they can trust me because trust equals speed. And so, how does this relate to you and your business? If you're talking to that home seller and you can't convince them to sell their home at a certain price when you have the data to back it up, you don't have a data problem. You got a trust problem. If you're working with someone and the transaction is taking a lot longer than you had hoped, you got a trust problem. If you're getting if you're getting hesitation from people signing a buyer's agreement, a listing agreement with you, you got a trust problem. How do you overcome that trust problem? It's in teaching. The more you teach people, the more you become an authority. The more you become an authority, the more that people begin to trust what you say is correct. And when you have trust, you have speed. Trust buys speed in relationships. I'm wondering out there, has anyone ever been in a situation where they've truly built trust with people? You've built a lot of trust. If you've built a lot of trust with people, I would love for you to just comment in the chat and tell me, yeah, I'm great at building trust with my buyers, with my sellers, and here's how I do it. This is my go-to for building trust with folks. I know how to build trust. I invest in the relationship. Here are the strategies I use for it. Here's what I do. I'm great at building trust. And I bet a lot of that comes back to teaching. I talked about this last week in our Facebook Live, how authority, building relationships, social proof. A lot of these things, as you see, they all come together because they're all important. They're just different ways to say the same thing. The first formula is teaching equals trust equals speed. And so if you're not teaching people something that they don't know or something they didn't fully appreciate, you're teaching them the value of something they didn't fully appreciate. Hey, Did you know that they're building a shopping center about 3 miles down from where you're thinking about buying? So if you buy in this neighborhood, I'm estimating that the home values are going to increase by 2 to 3% over the next 18 months. Now you're teaching people something that they don't know. You're building trust, and trust leads to faster transactions. If you want to make the transaction faster, then make the transaction easier, building trust to it. Number two, commitment and consistency equals community. Commitment and consistency equals community. And so life and relationships are built on micro commitments. I talk about this all the time. Life and relationships are built on micro commitments. If you ask people to take a commitment to you, to make a commitment to you too early, or the commitment is too large, then you ultimately are ruining the relationship because you build relationships online the same way you do offline. So when I walked up to Ashley for the first time, I didn't ask her, "Will you marry me?" I introduced myself. We exchanged telephone numbers. I gave her a call. We went out to coffee. We went to Dairy Queen. Then we went to PF Chang's. And then, like, we ultimately ended up meeting her friends, her parents. We got engaged. We got married. The whole nine, right? Now we go on vacations together. That's how I built the relationship with Ashley. That's how we cultivated that relationship. It all started with a micro commitment because life and relationships are built on micro commitments. Life and relationships are built on micro commitments. And so that's an individual example, but commitment and consistency can also lead to community. How is this possible? Because when people make a small commitment to you, now a portion of their identity is built in that commitment. Because as we were growing up, we were all taught. If you have kids, you can relate to this. Don't give up. Don't quit. Be consistent. Be reliable. Be dependable. Be logical. Be trustworthy. Be someone I can rely on. No one told their kids, yeah, give up anytime that you can. Be unreliable. Break your commitments. Be non-trustworthy. Be emotional, not rational. Like we don't talk like that. We say be logical, be emotional, be rational, be dependable. Stick to your commitments. If you start something, then finish it. Don't give up. Don't quit. Follow through. And so in society, we've trained ourselves that commitment is good. Holding your commitments are good. And so now your job is to figure out how can you get someone to make a small commitment to you because once they make that small commitment to you, a piece of their identity is built into that commitment and they're more likely to keep that commitment. Your job is to get them to make the small commitment to you. And so, as you get people to make these small commitments to you, you now start to build a community. So, one of our clients, he is a part time pilot, and he has a Facebook group about around aviation enthusiasts. He's got like 300 people in this Facebook group. It's all around aviation enthusiasts. So, his clients, he takes them up in planes. His clients, they talk about aviation, they talk about flying. Most of the 70% of the content in that group is all about flying. It's about airplanes. It's about people in his local community who love airplanes. They love aviation. They love talking about it. But 10 to 15% is about he's a real estate agent. And then you have the balance of him just building his brand. So you tell me this, anyone who's in that group, when they're looking to work with a real estate agent, who they going to go with? They're going to go with the agent who they have a relationship with because they've worked on building strong commitments with them, micro commitments over time. And commitment and consistency leads to community, building a community with micro commitments. EQ is greater than IQ. This is the third formula. So we've talked about the impact of teaching that leads to trust, which leads to more speed. Trust by speed in relationships. And we've talked about commitment and consistency and how that can help you build more community. But now let's talk about the difference between EQ and IQ. Because IQ gets you good grades, but EQ gets you rich. I went to a fancy school. I went to the University of Alabama undergrad. I went to Columbia, which is an Ivy League school in New York, New York. So Columbia is like one of those fancy schools that you pay way too much money for and blah, whatever. Well, you don't need to go to some fancy school to be successful in life. The hardest part about getting into a fancy school is actually getting in. Once you get in, they help you be successful. That's the secret behind it all. Whether it's Harvard, Stanford, etc. The hardest part is getting in. Once you get in, they help you be successful. IQ gets you good grades, and that's great. But I know a lot of people, a lot of real estate agents, they may not be the brightest bulb in the bulb box. Maybe they didn't go to some fancy school. You don't need to go to some fancy school to be successful. Maybe they didn't even graduate high school, but they're wealthy. They've built wealth in real estate because they have EQ, emotional intelligence. IQ is your intellect. EQ is your emotional intelligence. How well can you deal with people? Most real estate agents, they say, I want to build a relationship with folks. But in the reality, they just want to close a transaction. The people I know who've truly built wealth in real estate, not just gotten rich, but they've really built wealth in real estate, those people are great at moving folks from transactional to relational. They move people from transactional to relational. That's what they're great at doing, moving people from transactional to relational. And the way you move people from transactional to relational is by understanding that the sale is made when the relationship is built. The sale is made when the relationship is built. And so, if you truly believe that the sale is made when the relationship is built, then it's your job to build as many strong, valuable relationships with as many people as possible, as often as possible. That's your job. How can you build as many strong, valuable relationships with as many people as possible, as often as possible? That's your job. Let me take a sip of water. Mm. Whew. So let me know. Do you believe that EQ is greater than IQ? Or do you believe that intellect and book smarts and being smart helps you ultimately achieve your goals? Do you believe is understanding how to deal with people and managing the human aspect because we're all humans selling to humans who have human needs? Or do you believe intellect is there? Really interested to hear what you got to say about that. OPM is the new hustle. What's OPM? When you hear OPM, what are folks going to say? OPM, other people's money. That's what people think. OPM is other people's money. OPM is actually other people's manpower. You got to figure out how can you use other people's manpower to get to where you need to be. You got to figure out how can you use other people's manpower to achieve your goals. I run a technology company, and in tech, people want to automate everything. They want to use chatbots. They want to use drip campaigns. They want to just automate the entire process of or client, home buyer, home seller relationship building. As we move in this automated world and everything becomes more high tech, we can't forget how to be high touch. We can't forget the importance of being high touch. In this automated world, when everything is so high tech, we can't forget the importance of being high touch. Can't forget that. And so, as you try to automate everything, the key is not just automating everything with technology, but how can you automate at scale with people? This is a portion of what Smart Alto helps you do. Because when a new home buyer comes in, or a new home seller comes in, we can automate the follow up with those home buyers to qualify them, to set a 15-minute phone appointment on your calendar. And we can do that at scale, but we do it with real people. At Smart Alto, I'm the founder and CEO at Smart Alto. If you're just joining us, my name is Hassan Riggs, founder CEO at Smart Alto. And what Smart Alto does is it qualifies your online real estate leads and sets appointments with them, but it does it with people and it does it at scale. Right now, we manage 60 to 70,000 conversations per month as of this recording. So as those new leads come in, we're qualifying them, we're setting appointments with them, and you're doing it with people so that you're using OPM, other people's manpower. Because again, as we started the conversation, your job is to figure out where to utilize your resources. And the most ineffective thing you can do is pick up the phone and call a new home buyer, call a new home seller when they have a lead. We think about our funnel in this business. I was just talking to two guys, Garrett and Angelo. They're based in Seattle. Garrett and Angelo. I'll tag them in here because we're thinking about doing a Facebook Live talking about this topic over the next couple of weeks. And so we're talking about how the funnel is set up and the process is set up. Where at Smart Alto and some of the top producing agents, teams, and brokers, they don't use, oh, this lead is hot or that lead is cold, like these arbitrary metrics, these arbitrary ways, very subjective ways to think about whether or not you should call somebody, whether or not you should email or text message somebody, whether or not this person is ready to do business with you. We use an entirely different process. Prospect. Here's our funnel. I'm going to do a live on this soon too. Prospect, lead, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead, opportunity, and then client. A prospect is someone who's given us their email address. A lead is someone who's given us their name, telephone number, and email address. A marketing qualified lead is where we have at least one other bit of information about them. We could know that they have a team. We could know where they generate leads from. We could know what CRM they have. We have more information about them. A sales qualified lead is the first time one of our account executives gets on the phone with a person. That's when we know all that additional information. Plus, we know that they have a budget to buy and they're a decision maker. They have the budget and they're a decision maker. And then an opportunity is someone who's looking to buy within the next 7 days. And then you have a client. And so we move people through this circle of influence, what we call it. We move people through here from not knowing them at all to building strong, valuable relationships with them until they become a client with us. That's the way we move people through a funnel. Well, we don't have one of our account executives get on the phone with someone until they are a sales qualified lead because up until that point, we've tried to automate our process. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Automate your process, but do it with people at scale. OPM is the new hustle. That's how you get leverage in business. Using other people's time, using other people's manpower, not just other people's money. Knowing your numbers equals the crystal ball. So we've talked about how teaching equals trust, which leads to speed. We've talked about commitment and consistency and how that builds community. We've talked about how OPM is the new hustle. This is knowing your numbers, it's the crystal ball. Digital marketing is the closest thing to a crystal ball you'll ever get. Because with every bit of data, with every ad that you run, you get more data. With every bit of data that you get more information. With information, you can make better decisions. With better decisions, it clears up and you know what to do or what not to do. You know where to invest your time, where to invest your resources, where to invest your people, and where not to invest your time, your resources, your people, your energy, your focus, right? So you know the difference between those two. So I'm going to ask you a question, and if you know the answer to this, then please put it in the chat. How much does it cost you to get a lead? How much does it cost you to get an appointment? How much does it cost you to get a client? How much does it cost you to get a lead? How much does it cost you to get an appointment? How much does it cost you to get a client? If you want to take it a step further, then think about breaking that down by lead source. If you're getting leads from Zillow, how much does it cost you to get a lead from Zillow, an appointment from Zillow, a client from Zillow? If you're getting leads from Facebook, how much does it cost you to get a lead from Facebook, a client from Facebook, a booked appointment from Facebook? If you're using a service like LSM, Lead Source Management, how much does it cost you to get a lead? How much does it cost you to get a booked appointment? How much does it cost you to get a client? That way you begin to evaluate what's working and what's not working so that you can make decisions based on data as opposed to your gut feeling, because knowing your numbers is the closest thing to a crystal ball. Digital marketing helps you know your numbers. And I can give you all these tools, all these systems, all these strategies, all these tips, all these execution plans, but I can't give you D cubed. I can't give you the desire, the discipline, and the direction to reach your dreams. Once you have the desire and discipline, ultimately that leads to your individual direction, which helps you get your dreams, helps you achieve your dreams. Systems alone won't help you. Obviously, I'm like a systems guy, right? I can help you build the systems. I can tell you what CRM to get, what tools to get. I can help you think through those things, but I can't give you the desire and the discipline. So you got to do that yourself. If you want to reach your dreams, which I believe in you, I believe you can do it. But if you want to do it, you're going to have to, you're going to need the grit and the perseverance to get there. Right? You're going to need the grit and the perseverance to get there. Systems alone won't help. Okay. Simple formulas for real estate success. We've talked about today. We talked about teaching equals trust equals speed, and how there's a relationship between speed and trust. How there's a relationship between teaching and trust. The more you teach, the more people trust you, the faster transactions. We talked about commitment and consistency and how that leads to community, how life is built on micro commitments, relationships are built on micro commitments, business is built on micro commitments, communities are built on micro commitments. We talked about how EQ is greater than IQ. IQ gets you good grades, but EQ gets you rich. It helps you build wealth. You got to be good with people. You can't just be book smart. OPM is the new hustle. Not other people's money, but other people's manpower. How are you using other people's manpower to automate your entire process? We talked about knowing your numbers. Knowing your numbers is like seeing the crystal ball. It's seeing the crystal ball, knowing your numbers. Digital marketing helps you see that crystal ball. And we talked about discipline, desire, direction is what you need to achieve your dreams. I can give you all the systems and the tools and everything, but ultimately, only you can truly help you achieve your dreams, because you need the desire and the discipline to really get there. You need the desire and the discipline. Cool. Wow. That took a little bit longer than I expected it to take. How you guys do there? Some of that information was helpful to you. Let me know. I'm going to stick around for a couple of minutes to answer any questions that you have, address any comments that you may be having, anything that you want to know. Again, my name is Hassan Riggs. I'm the founder, CEO at Smart Alto. If you're watching this, you're likely in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group where I'm streaming right now. If you are interested in generating online leads, then I'm going to tag William Heckman, who's one of the best at generating online leads out there in the marketplace that I know of. If you're interested in helping, if you're interested in getting 15-minute phone appointments put on your calendar, then reach out to me at Smart Alto. You can just put something down in the chat, because I'll have me or someone on my team reach out to you and schedule a 15-minute phone appointment with you to just better understand your needs, wants, and expectations, right? So hopefully you had a good time today. Um, we talked a lot about some of the simple formulas that I use in my business in order to double my business this year, and how some of the top agents, teams, and brokers use these exact same principles to double um, their business to continue to grow. Happy Thanksgiving, Richard. Happy Thanksgiving, man. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Would love to chat with you. And really, this group is about building community. Is about helping people kind of take that next step in their business and in their life. This is a what's working now community. The goal is to not only come and consume, but also contribute to the group, to come, consume, and contribute to the group. And so every joint has something to supply. Everyone out there has something to supply to help someone else, because when you fulfill your purpose in life, you become a benefit and a blessing to someone else. That's why I always ask you to contribute to help other people grow. And the more that you teach, the more that you grow, the more that you help people kind of expand and take their business to the next level. How to convince realtors effectively to equip themselves with systems, and easy mind blowing 2 cent. Easy mind blowing 2 cent. How to convince realtors effectively to equip themselves with systems. I think most agents understand that they need systems in place, especially the agents who are continuing to, like the top producing agents that we work with at Smart Alto. We work with people who are closing a lot of deals per year. They're trying to go to the next step. They know they can't do everything alone. One of the main jobs of an entrepreneur is not just to build, you know, is not just to kind of understand your domain, understand real estate, but also understand how to build a team. And so one of the things that you could take a look at is we did a Facebook Live with Steve Jolly not long ago where he talked about the systems that he had, the systems he had in place, the principles that guide those systems, and the tools that he uses to implement those systems. It's a great Facebook Live, so I encourage everyone to go out and take a look at that Facebook Live. It's in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind group. It's with Steve Jolly, again, where he talks about the systems he uses, the principles that guide those systems, and then the tools that help him implement those systems to take his business to the next level. What mistakes did you make early in your business that you learned from? Oh my goodness, there's so many. And when I say mistakes, I'm a test and learn guy. So the way that I built my business, Regis, am I pronouncing your name right, Regis? The way you could just put that in the chat. Hopefully, I am pronouncing it right, correctly. So the way that I think about my business is not in terms of success and failure as being devastating, but I run my business based upon hundreds of tiny little experiments. Everything that we do, we treat it as a test. This is a test. So to open our mind, and we're going to set up this experiment, and we're going to run a test to see if this test works so that we can collect some data. Sometimes the test wins and it succeeds. Most of the time, the test fails. But what we need to do is build a business based upon data and results as opposed to what we think and opinion. Because there are a lot of people who have opinions. Everybody's got an opinion. But what data actually backs this up? That's one of the fundamental building blocks. What assumptions do you have in your business? What hypothesis are you trying to test? And then what actions are you going to take to test that hypothesis? That's the way we do everything in our marketing and our follow up and our everything to build not only this system, but this well oiled machine to help us go to the next level. Right? That's what we do in our business to really go to next. By the way, Ecamm link is not working. Yeah, it's working, man. I can see last name Ahmed Afyab. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Regis, I see Todd. Hey, what's going on, Todd? Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for the nice comments, Todd. One thing that I'll mention, my goal in 2019 was to write for Forbes and speak at NAR. I've done both of those things. I need your help to reach my goal for 2020. In 2020, my goal is to write for Fast Company or Inc. magazine. In order to do that, one of the things I need is to elevate my personal and professional profile. And so if you thought that this was valuable today, I'm going to ask that you leave me a review on Google. I'm going to put a Google link at the bottom of this kind of presentation, wherever it is. I'm going to put a Google link down there. I would appreciate if you would take a moment to just comment and leave me a short review. You could talk about what you learned in this Facebook Live, the value that you've gotten from the Facebook group, just really reviewing me, because I want, when the folks at Fast Company and Inc. and etc., when they Google my name and they try to stalk me, they see a lot of positive reviews of me and my name. So I'm going to ask that small commitment from you. If you would be so gracious to do that, I would be forever grateful for you, because you'll be helping me my goals. I'm trying to help you reach your goals. You help me reach some of my goals. I think that would be a really nice thing. So if you have any questions, I got a call in a couple of minutes. But if you have any questions, then put them down in the chat, and I'll be sure to hop in over to the Facebook group in a second and answer some of those questions, and put that link in there. So hopefully you all will be um, thoughtful enough to leave me a short review on Google. So thank you again. My name is Hassan Reds, founder, CEO at Smart Alto, speaker at NAR Inman, and also contributor for Forbes. I'm signing off where we talked about the simple formulas to grow your real estate business, and quite literally some of the guiding principles I used to double my business over the past. Look forward to talking to you soon. Signing off from Washington, D.C.